welcome back to my channel. My name is Colleen, and today I'm going to share something a little different with you guys. So I wanted to try something new today, kind of showing you some videos, doing some commentary, and having an open conversation about financial literacy and the way it affects us day to day. So this first clip is about this woman who is in $65,000 of credit card debt.
So, my husband and I are $60,000 in debt. Okay.
Part of the problem. You are.
And let me explain how we got here. In June of 2022, we had a good amount of savings and decided that our home that we've been living in for a couple years just needed some maintenance and some upgrades. You can see behind me, we live in like a very normal house, but there were some things like on the outside where our stucco was falling off, so we needed to have that repaired. We had our house painted, we upgraded our bathroom a little bit, and also decided to pay off my husband's private student loan because the interest is not great. And so we had plenty of savings and we decided to just drain those bad boys. We both had really stable jobs.
Okay, so your house needed some updates and you wanted to pay off your private student loans. I can get that. If you have a certain amount in your emergency fund above what you might need for like 3 months, I can see putting that towards your high interest debt because whatever interest you're getting and you have that security of about 3 months, okay, I can see that. Some of those house repairs didn't sound urgent, and the idea that any job is stable. You can be laid off tomorrow. A couple years ago, I left a job I never thought I'd get fired from. I was very confident in my abilities, very confident in my team. My boss loved me. I wasn't going anywhere. But I left that job for a new opportunity. It was about 50% pay bump. I was severely underpaid in my other role. And 3 months later, half of our team got laid off. So anything can happen. Like, especially for these past few years, you cannot believe that your job is fully like recession proof or anything like that. You can be fired.
We would be able to squirrel away some money over time and build back up our savings again. 2 weeks later, unexpectedly, I was laid off from my job.
See, exactly. A few weeks after taking all of that safety net, you were let go. You were fired. And now that money is spent and gone.
And I'm the breadwinner of our household, so it did not go well. I was unemployed for about 7 months. Thank goodness I had social media to keep us afloat for a little bit, but here's the deal. We had to put a lot of stuff on credit card to be able to keep ourselves afloat. So anything that could go on a credit card went on a credit card. And that allowed my husband's income to pay for our mortgage, our car payments, our daycare, things like that. But everything else went on a credit card. We cut back as much as we could, but there's still a lot of expenses. We finally decided to do a debt consolidation loan, and it's about $65,000. And we're gonna try and pay it off. We did a 5-year loan plan, but we're gonna try and pay it off in the next 2 years if I can finally get that OnlyFans account going. I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna do OnlyFans, but that's our goal. One of our kids gets out of daycare this year. We've spent $36,000 a year on daycare, so one of them graduates this year, the other one goes to VPK, so that'll save us a little bit of money. Our hopes are that we're able to put a lot of what we were already paying for daycare towards this loan and get it paid off sooner than planned. But your girl loves to shop, so I'm gonna have to do some shit to keep myself accountable to this. So I'm coming on the internet and telling you what my deepest, darkest secret.
Okay, so it's a good thing her husband still had his income because there are bills you just can't put on a credit card. Your mortgage, a lot of daycares don't let you, your car payment, you need cash to be able to pay those things. So it's good that they had his income to still cover and stay current on those bills. But that is a lot of credit card debt to rack up. And I think she said she was unemployed or laid off for 7 months. That is a lot. And she mentioned they did debt consolidation, which can be great because it's like, it's one payment. Here's one thing you have to keep track of. And I love that she's already putting it in the mindset of like, once her kid is out of this particular daycare and they no longer have that big bill, because let's face it, y'all, daycare is expensive. So kind of taking that bill and putting it towards their debt. So hopefully they can keep that up, because if so, that should definitely help knock out that debt really fast. But I really hope, because a lot of time I've seen with debt consolidation, people will take all their debt, they'll put it on this one bill, but now it has freed up all of this other credit that you can now tap into and rack those cards right back up. So you have to be really careful and really mindful of what you're doing there.
Where are you going? Oh. Buying a puppy when you're in $60,000 of credit card debt is not a good idea.
And you got a puppy? You had this debt racking up, you were unemployed, and you had a puppy? Puppies are adorable. That puppy is so freaking cute. But they're expensive, between shots and food and everything. Expensive. Why are you adding another thing you have to take care of? Okay. All right. So this next clip is another kind of long one, and I do want to let you know there are some F-bombs that she drops, some swearing that she does. So if you have little ones around or you want to make sure you've got your headphones on, here's a warning.
So if you're anything like me, just a normal person with a normal job in this shit-ass economy that can't afford anything these days except your bare necessities, then you've slacked on paying some of your bills. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. This is a no judgment zone, because I haven't paid all my bills either, and I'm really slacking, especially on my credit card bills. And I'm going to keep it real. I don't give a shit about shit I bought last year or 6 months ago or when I swiped the credit card. I don't fucking care. Thanks for letting me have that stuff. I don't have the money to pay you back right now.
That's one thing about credit cards. You could be paying off this debt for years, and you're paying off purchases you did years ago, several months ago. You don't even remember what you bought. Like, I feel like it's a little different, because like with car payments, some of those terms are ridiculously long, like between like 4 and like 7 years or something. But you see that car, you drive that car every day, you see what you're paying for, what you're purchasing every month. But on a credit card, you're paying some 30 plus interest on McDonald's you bought a year ago. So I do kind of understand like having the lack of motivation for this, because it's like, it's not here anymore. Why do I care?
So I used to be really religious with this. Like, I would send a set amount of money each month and just auto pay the credit card so it would keep my balance down, so that I didn't fall behind. Well, about 7 months ago, I took it off auto pay. And for about 6 months religiously now, like every day, multiple times a day, they're calling to get their money. We all got a job to do, and I know that you're tired of dialing my fucking number and I'm not picking up the phone. So I accidentally answered one of their calls in the car the other day. My car hooks to my phone, so if you hit a button on the steering wheel, then it automatically answers. And it was Teresa from, Credit One or Capital, one of those that I have. And she goes, "Hi, this is Teresa, and I'm calling for Brandy. I'm from the credit card service." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to answer this phone call. Like, I'm really sorry about that. I don't have your money. Like, that's why I don't answer the phone or the emails that you sent me." And this bitch, she goes, "Well, we're like 2 steps away from sending you to collections, and that's really going to affect your credit." Teresa, do you not know that also not paying your credit card bill plummets your fucking credit? You might as well take my credit score out back and fucking put it out of its misery, Teresa. Do you also realize that right now, my credit score means absolute fuck all nothing to me? Like, do I look like I'm buying a house? Do I look like I'm buying a car? Does it look like I can afford to buy anything ever again? Teresa, I'm going to save us both the time here. Just send it to collections now, because between now and next month, when you keep trying to call me, nothing's going to change. Nothing. So sorry about that, but thanks for all the stuff I bought on the credit card. I don't know what to tell you, and it's going to sit in collections too. I really, like, food, house payment, car payment, insurance, medicine, clothes, bare necessities. That's all I got the money for right now. Everything else, I could care fucking less. If you want to throw, I've been in collections my whole fucking life, Teresa. Set it to collections. And she just hung up on me. I don't think she had a pleasant time talking to me, and that's okay. That's fine.
I will admit that exchange there was kind of funny, Because I know even if you're not trying to avoid like collectors calls, we all get those spam calls, those annoying calls that you're just ignoring. And it is kind of funny when you answer one and you're just like, yeah, no, I don't have it. Go ahead, go send it to collections, like whatever. It's not great that you're kind of nonchalant about this, but I also kind of get it. With everything else that's going on, that's not really the top of your priority list. And she said she's been in a cycle of like collections, which it's hard to break that. It's hard to get out of that, because I know when I feel like I'm making progress towards something, there is just this giant avalanche coming to like squish you down. You think you're making headway, you think you're getting through it, something happens, and you're right back to square one. So it can be really defeating. And she brought up her credit score. Like, here's the thing. If you're not buying a house, if you're not taking out a loan, if you're not doing any of these things, then yeah, why would you care if your credit score was terrible? I watched Caleb Hammer's financial audits, and his guests will bring up like not wanting to close their cards or wanting to make sure they keep their accounts active, because like, what about your credit score? And he's just like, F that. Like, I don't care about your credit score. You're not buying a house, you're not buying a car. You don't need access to more credit. You need to get your finances in order. So I just thought that was kind of a funny exchange. So I'm not going to preface this next clip, but it is kind of on a different energy than the last two.
Love it. I know your credit card bill is high. Okay, so listen to me. Lock in. This is how we're going to save money and also get that dopamine hit, because oftentimes we don't really want the thing. We want the dopamine we've attached to it. Oh no, I love a list. And this is my list titled Impulse Avoidance, and here's how it goes. So this is the thing that I wanted, the thing that I almost impulse bought, added to cart, almost checked out. The day that I found it or added it to cart, and then how much it was. If your list gets long like mine, you're not going to shame yourself, right? Because we live in an age where we're constantly being sold to. That is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to make sure you keep yourself in track for your financial goals. At the end of the month, my date here is wrong. You're going to add up this entire column of everything it would have cost. This month alone, and the month is not over, I almost impulse bought $750 worth of stuff.
You almost spent over $700 impulsively in a month. And she said the month's not even over. That is, oh my goodness. That is so much money to just be mindlessly spending on things. So I love that she's tracking it and she didn't actually spend it, and she's like being more mindful of what she's doing.
So at the end of the month, whatever my number adds up to, I'm going to divide it in half. Half is going to go into savings. Half I'm going to do whatever I want with. Half is important because you're honoring your commitment to save and then also rewarding yourself for that. And that is where the dopamine hit comes from. And with that half you're keeping, this is the time to go through your list and see, after you've sat on it for a little bit, if there's anything you actually do want. Let's keep our savings account.
Okay, so I really like what she did there. She was doing more than just tracking her spending. She was keeping a note of any of that mindless spending you might do, that really quickly, like add to cart, buy now. I know I have seen something on like TikTok or somewhere and been like, oh, add to cart, that looks wonderful. And I will try to leave it there for a couple of days. I will try and like not just go ahead and purchase it and really think about it. I've never made a list though. So I do love that she like really looked at it and then reviewed it, because maybe there was something that you almost bought in the beginning of the month that turns out like, yeah, actually I really do need this, or I really like want this, or at the very least it makes it more mindful what you're doing. And then she takes that amount and splits it, which I have heard of. When people, this was years ago, one of my friends did this. If she was going to buy something, like if she was going to like buy something that was like $15 at like, I don't know, at a store, and she ended up not doing it, she still took that $15 out of her checking account, put it into her savings. So it was like she spent it, but then it was going towards her savings goals. Now, obviously that doesn't work for everyone, but I think it's the same idea here. So you can still kind of get that excitement, that dopamine, as she said, and you're still rewarding yourself. But I guess instead of spending $700, you're spending like $300, $350 on things. I don't know. It's an interesting idea.
If you are in hot girl debt, I got you. Here's exactly what you're gonna do. This was my first year ever being in debt, and it has been one of the most stressful experiences of my life. I do not recommend it. Avoid getting into credit card debt. It's not cute. Anyways, back to the tray. My schemer dad taught me this. He's a self-proclaimed cockroach to society. Step 1, you're going to research new credit cards with 0% interest for 18 months. You're going to open up a new credit card. It will take you 5 seconds. While you're opening up that credit card, there's going to be an option for you to transfer your debt. I had no idea you could do this. Like I said, it was my first year ever being in debt. I'm trying to get out of it real quick, but this changed my life. Now, I'm going to warn you, there is a one-time transfer fee of like $200, but you're paying that in interest anyways. You're basically paying that transfer fee so that you can be interest-free for 18 months. Basically, this is going to just buy you some breather time to get out of debt. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a girl in New York City chasing my dreams who already feels like a millionaire, and I got myself into a little bit of credit card debt because of it. Hope this helps.
So I don't hate this. I do think for the right person, this can be a great idea. Again, it kind of goes back to that debt consolidation if you can handle it. If you're now not going to see that available credit on that new card you just took everything off of and then put more money on it. If you can handle that, like not getting into more debt while doing this transfer, I think it's a really smart thing to do. Like I mentioned earlier, when I got laid off, I was the breadwinner. I've been the breadwinner in my family since early 2020, so the past 4.5 years now. And when I got laid off, it was really scary because yes, we had an emergency fund. It was not quite 2 months of expenses. But when I went looking for this new job that increased my pay so much, it took me several months. So I was so scared of how long would it take me to find something else that could then sustain my family. And unemployment, back it was like 2022, was not early pandemic unemployment. I got like $275 a week, which was not really even enough to pay our mortgage. So I did, like that first day I got laid off, I filed for unemployment, and I went and looked at a 0% credit card. Because I knew we needed cash for our mortgage, we needed cash for our car payment, we needed cash for daycare, but everything else could go on a card. But I knew with who I was and how I handle money that I would be able to, whatever I put on that card, which would have been only essentials, pay that off before that like 0% intro rate came in. So with that, it gave us a lot of breathing room. And luckily I found a new job within about 6 weeks, started it was similar pay and everything was fine. We got that card paid off for what we put on it really quickly. But it can be, again, a slippery slope. If it's not something you can handle, having, again, all that available credit, then it might not be the best choice. But it is definitely something that you can look into, and a lot of them will have a small fee. Sometimes it's a couple $100, like she said. Sometimes it's a percentage of however much you're transferring. But if you're moving it to a 0%, in the long run, if you can handle it, it could be a really great idea. This is the last clip I have for you guys. I will let you know again, there will be swearing in it.
Unfuck my life with me. I have $12,000 in credit card debt and I've decided to get my shit together. So this is the update on that. My last video on debt was 3 weeks ago and I sat down and I made a budget. 3 weeks later, here's what I can share. I put $500 towards my credit cards, making my new total $11,700.
So that's great. She has $12,000 in credit card debt. She sat down, she budgeted, she looked at what she could do. And in 3 weeks, she put like $500 on it. Like that's incredible.
Here's exactly how I did it. I cut down on my groceries by using everything that was in my pantry, saving me $200.
I'm sorry to pause it again so quickly. I think people underestimate how much money they spend on food, between groceries, between eating out, between everything. There is so much food waste in this country and really in lots of places of the world. So taking a look, doing an inventory of what you have and stretching that visit to the grocery store or getting a little creative can save you really good money. I share a lot of that on my channel. I can link some playlists above. Go ahead and check them out.
Didn't buy a single thing from Amazon this month and I ate out way less. I downloaded the Mint app and I've been checking it every single day to see how much I'm spending and keep better track of my budgeting.
Doing hot girl.
Someone once said that you learn more from failure than you learn from success, so don't let that stop you. Failure builds character, and I have failed a lot in my little lifetime. In addition to my budget, I sat down with a financial advisor for a couple free sessions of figuring out how I can get out of debt and start investing to make my money work for me. The call was stressful, to say the least. He sat me down, he talked me through my expenses, my income, my debt. My mind was melting at all the numbers. Then he showed me exactly how much I needed to save to reach my long-term goals of retirement and my debt goals, and I basically just shut down from there. He shared with me the final magic number that I would need to save in order to retire comfortably, and the reaction on my end was not professional.
This is fucked. That's crazy. Why is my number in red?
I do think it's great that she went through her budget. She met with a financial counselor, advisor. I would find it really overwhelming to be trying to focus on such a high debt number. She said it was $12,000. And then also be thinking about investing and thinking about this and thinking about that. That would be just really overwhelming to me. I think it would probably be better to focus on one thing at a time, or at least focus on that high interest debt and then look into what you need for investing. Hyper focus on one thing if it's something like that high of debt. I know others have other opinions, but that's what I would do in this situation.
This call was amazing for me, really helped me see the big picture, and while I'm overwhelmed, angry, and I hate this so much, I'm sticking to my budgeting because success is not final, failure is not fatal, and it is the courage to continue that counts.
Overall, I love that. She has such a positive attitude towards it. She's doing all the right steps and doing the really scary thing of looking at everything. Trying to figure out what you're spending, where you can save, focusing on that big number, and also your future, which, like I said, can be overwhelming, but it's great that she's really looking at everything and trying to really hone in on what she needs to do. And with that, that's all I have for you today. If you like this kind of content, let me know down below. I would love to share more commentary budget videos with you guys. So if there's any topics you're really interested in, put a comment down below and I'd be happy to talk about it with you. But I will see you all in my next one. Bye.